Today I had the fortune of being able to dissect a dream. Someone was kind enough to send me a couple dreams they were having, and I'm able to provide an analysis for everyone. So, why is the dream state so important? Now, the dream state is pretty much a gateway to our subconscious mind. Today, we read so much on the internet, such precarious amounts of information, such copious information that we think we know it all. However, the nature of the shadow itself is tricky. The more you think you know, uh, the more surely you've been duped to some degree, because this is designed to elude you in some way. So the dream state is a portal, a doorway into your subconscious mind, into patterns that have been locked into place and are probably creating negative patterns, negative cycles in your life that are responsible for repression, creative blocks. If you're not able to advance in the next stage of life, or take the next steps you need to be taking. We often resort to things like hypnosis to help us, break through that, or affirmations in sleep state. People will play recordings and listen to it at night, and in the hopes that things begin changing for them. And this is very real, because in this state, our mind is a bit more susceptible to suggestion, and it is also giving us and transmitting to us information that we're not privy to otherwise, that otherwise we might feel too blocked to open ourselves to, or we would not be receptive to that information. That's why dream journals are so recommended in any kind of creative endeavors. That's why even Julia Cameron's method for creatives, it recommends journaling first thing in the morning, 3 pages. Why? Because you have an unfiltered stream of consciousness, and it slowly reveals to you what the knots and entanglements in your mind are. So now, the dream itself. I'm gonna paraphrase a bit, but this is mostly exact. I dreamt of a school play run by an ex-boss of mine. Originally, she named this person, but I dropped the name for privacy reasons. I had forgotten my lines, but then I realized I wasn't even in the play. Then the dream changes scenes, and she finds herself in an amusement park. It reads, "Then I went to an animal-themed amusement park and dreamed that I met people I knew." So now let's move on to actually analyzing the dream. There's 3 primary elements to consider in the dream itself: the backdrop, dream characters, and finally the state of the dreamer themselves. I would also pay attention to the way things have been worded by the person narrating the dream. So now, in terms of backdrop, we have 2 different kind of scenarios here. We have a school and we have an amusement park. So the school, based on what can be inferred from the narration of the dream, is a more serious place. Performance is being evaluated here, so there's duty and responsibility, and it's stressful, and there's authorities involved, because she mentioned her ex-boss being in this scenario as well. Then, in the amusement park, it's a more playful setting. It's animal themed and fun. Now, note for animal themes. One of the things that modern humans are shamed for the most are their animal desires, And this doesn't have to be sexual. It can even be something like recognizing your body's need for rest or your need to engage in leisure activities that are not related to productivity or any kind of that don't induce performance anxiety. So and this animal portion of us is always taught to be lower, that it's not respectable, even if we're not talking about taboo topics. It's just, even the things that we discussed today, like biohacking, it might be useful now, but just think about it in this way, that we're always trying to beat the body's processes, establish our dominion over nature through anxiety over our bodies as well. And then if we consider dream characters, the primary figure is, apart from the dreamer, is the ex-boss, who is an authority figure who was directing the play and, in a way, running the show. That can be inferred here, but didn't provide the script or wasn't clear about whether this person was included in the cast or not included. So right away you can see a troubled relationship with authority. And this may or may not manifest in obvious ways. If you look at real life, it's probably not going to be extreme. However, in dream state, the exaggerations are really what are able to clue us in. Because what we do in daytime is we suppress a lot of the emotions we feel in order to cope with reality, to cope with our multiple tasks that we have. Anyway, and then the other dream characters, in the alternate setting, there are people she knew, but none of them in the write-up that I received were named. So although they were friendly, they were not important enough to name. Something that can be inferred here is the psyche is probably, in a way, disproportionately attentive to unfriendly forces, to threatening forces. And once again, this doesn't have to manifest itself in extreme circumstances or extreme phobia, but it could be the little things that add up. And that's why the psyche, through dreams, warns us much in advance about what's to come or what we can expect. Putting the two together and doing some sort of analysis, it becomes evident that the dream's central themes are around work-life balance and possibly an inability to focus on either thing properly. So as you see the dreamer, when she's in the school setting, she doesn't know what's happening around her. She doesn't know if she's in the play. She doesn't know her dialogues. And when she's in the amusement park setting, it's fun, but she's not registering the reality of the people around her. She doesn't attach value to the name. So it's almost like when you're resting or when you're doing leisure activities, you can't switch off from work because you have guilt. And when you're working, you're exhausted because of all the guilt that you carry on into your recreational life. Hence, it's important for this particular dreamer, to be a bit more attentive and in flow state. So, as an analyst and an occult personality, this is what my recommendation would be. And one thing that I always recommend is not to look at too many points of data, because chances are different dream series. Now, she was able to pinpoint that this has been a pattern for her. However, different dreams might be dealing with different problems. So I might be back with a different analysis. In the meantime, this is something that I might consider taking on in a professional capacity. So in case anybody is interested in working on some kind of blocks they might have, or that are emotional or task related, um, I will try set something up for this. And I really just want to thank the dreamer for um, sharing this with us.